We're in the month of March, and it's renowned worldwide to be the International Women's Month. And for you Crimeshield fans out there, you understand that we speak about safety and security as the main agenda. Today's topic is one unique topic, and it's a topic where we'll need your feedback on how you view the topic that we're going to talk about. And without further ado, I want to introduce it as a topic that is concerning. We know about gender-based violence, but now we want to look at how technology led gender-based violence. What is it, and how it has moved up over the years? To help us go through this is none other than an amazing lady. I'll let her introduce herself. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Kingsley.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Monica Kimeu, our diversity and inclusion champion, so to speak. But beyond that, I am a mother, I am a wife, and I am a sister to a lot of women in security. So I have a bias in the security space. I have a master's degree in security management from Egerton University, but I have a background in communication and media. I know you wonder then, how do you move from media to security? Maybe we can have that conversation as we go ahead.
Yes.
But my basis is largely training and development. I do have an organization called More and More Concepts that does tailor-made trainings with a security lens to organizations, and basically just do security mainstreaming in organizations, because a lot of organizations don't understand the value of security and why it is so integral in their organizations. But to really introduce myself to why I am here today.
Yes.
I am the Secretary General of the Association of Women in Safety Excellence, the only association of women in security in Kenya, duly registered by the Registrars of Society, espoused to create a deliberate space for women in security, because per wonder, security is largely male-dominated. Yeah. Do we have women? Oh, yes, we do. And they're in their numbers, but largely their voices are not heard. So I represent an organization that is intentional to raise the voices of women in the security space in Kenya. And I am a founder member of WISE. We call ourselves Women in Safety Excellence, and we are WISE. I am also the vice chair of the Protective and Safety Association of Kenya, which is an umbrella body of professionals and corporate organizations that believe in professional standards in security in Kenya. And the reason why is very integral is because as a PROSA governing council member, I saw a gap. And that's why we have WISE.
Amazing. There are ladies out there who are looking at you and they're like, wow, all those credentials under your sleeve, amazing. What really motivated you to, focus on women and safety? You've told us a bit of your background, and what really geared you up to, focusing on women?
Like I said, I have a background in communication and media. I really wanted to be a journalist as I was growing up. So I pursued that line. But when I got into the workspace, there was a lot of sexual harassment. So I was not persuaded as a student to pursue journalism. I felt I needed maybe to do PR. Because PR is more corporate than mainstream. So I moved into PR. And my first organization was a security organization, and I got into PR in the Kenya Institute of Security and Criminal Justice, a training institution that back then was the only one training security studies, back I think in 2007. So I got into that space doing PR. But guess what? I think sometimes fate has it that you get a liking to certain spaces. And I loved security. But as I engaged more of it, I realized the women were so few. I wouldn't recruit students for the programs in security, and out of 100 students, I'd have 2 women enroll for the program. And this continued on and on. I would go for meetings, and I'm the only woman in the room. And I asked myself, what is the problem? Is it that this space does not have the opportunity for women to thrive in, or is it a narrative that is just out there, it's not a space for women? So I decided to change that narrative and just ask myself, who is speaking for the ladies, who is letting the ladies know that their safety and security must be a conversations they're having themselves.
Yeah.
And I became very, very passionate in challenging women to join this space, because a lot of security people are here by default. Like Monica did not become a security expert because she was a security student from campus. I had to develop a liking and now professionalize into my postgraduate studies. But I have the challenge of changing the narrative, has seen the birth of WISE, has seen a change in women being intentional to join the security space, and to not see this space as a guard level space. Because everyone would imagine that, you're a security guard and you're in security. No, we have quite an array of criminologists, forensic experts, trainers who are very, very, what do I say? The creme de la creme of security in Kenya.
Yeah.
So this is what drove me to start WISE. And when I became a governing council member of Prozac, again, I was lonely. We were only 2 women in the governing council. Yet as a society, we have a lot of women.
Yeah.
But even as we go to meetings, nobody's talking about the safety and security of women. We are talking about safety and security on a large scale, but without a focus to what are the challenges that the women are facing. And this is really what caused the birth of WISE. A few of us who used to be in these meetings alone, decided to have coffee and say, hey,
let's do something for ourselves.
Let's do something and drive this space for the women in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's go into the topic of discussion today. And it is tech-facilitated gender-based violence. We're in an era where, social media, telephones, internet, and there's a lot of things that goes on. I want to pick your brains on how you perceive tech-based, gender-based violence. Tell us something about it.
Before I move on to that, with your permission, Kingsley, allow me to just say why WISE is very interested in this topic.
Yeah.
You see, WISE is an association for women in security, women who are very aware of their safety and security, but a very small percentage in our populace in Kenya. The majority of women are not aware of their safety and security. And there's a term I like to use. We have a lot of women who are soft targets. And those of us who are trained in security, let's say we are hard targets, because then we know how to protect ourselves.
You understand.
We understand the dynamics of security.
Yeah.
We have a lot of women who are soft targets, and WISE is intentional to change that we convert women from soft targets to hard targets. And now I can talk about this GBV that is technologically driven. Now, we all know what GBV is, gender-based violence. It comes in many forms. It comes through physical abuse, assault, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. And this is what we call traditional GBV. But you see, we are in the digital era. And it has taken a different form. It is on our devices, it's
part of us.
Yeah, like you go into any social media platform and there's conversation about women and how they're dressing and how they should carry out themselves. And gender-based violence has moved from the physical dimension into the digital dimension. And guess what? The numbers are huge in the digital space. If you thought trauma by a single assault from a husband in a house was bad, digital has a lot of viewers. It has to their thousands, millions.
Yeah.
So when somebody feels ashamed, it is not about them being ashamed to their family members, because previously you'd be ashamed to tell your mother or father or your siblings or your family that somebody hit you. Now it is beyond the walls, beyond the confines of the home. It is on a global level. So technologically led GBV is online harassment, cyberbullying. You make a mistake as a leader, and it is that one thing that is picked and is discussed. Despite of all your other accolades that you have achieved, or all your other good deeds. And that one thing is trolled. By the end of the day, you have no face. By the end of the day, you have no voice. And this is what we call technologically led GBV. Yeah.
So now that we've adopted a lot of tech, we work with our gadgets. Everybody has a phone. In most urban centers, we have all these social media platforms. Do you feel that like women, for example, have, as you said, soft targets, how do they then, what are some of the things that they may face on these platforms that can really lead to them being violated?
As women, we are social beings. We are very emotional. We are very, how do I put it? How we are perceived matters a lot to us.
Okay.
So when it comes to the person of the woman, when they are put on the spotlight, for example, it eats into their person. So for them to be soft targets, they're trusting, so they share too much information. Their believability level is very high. So let's say it's in a new relationship, you are sharing stuff. And most of us who we like to call ourselves soft targets, the word no doesn't come easy. We accept easy. Send me this photo. You don't think twice. Suppose tomorrow we are not working and you release it, what would happen to me? You trust that they love you, and you give a part of yourself to somebody. And then shit hits the roof one day and you find your body part on the social media. I tell women, those of us who are professionals, everybody has a trajectory on their career goals. You know where you want to be the next 10, 15 years, even 5. Those of us who are leaving campus. Whatever decisions you make today, you should never be a soft target. You should need to know if you're going to be person ABCD tomorrow, anything you do today in the digital world will hold you at ransom
they say
at some point.
Internet doesn't forget.
So for you to be a hard target, that needs to be at the back of your mind all the time. Whatever you share with on the digital spaces, the kind of photos, even the kind of images. Sometimes we're out drinking with our friends, we're having a good time, there's a lot of booze. Channel that 15 years when you're somebody's mom, when you're a CEO, and this photo is dangling somewhere, and you have a big deal coming along, and your character is assassinated, so to speak.
Because of a photo.
This is what makes us soft. So when you have a mindset, when you're self-aware that this is who I am, this is the kind of person I'd like to be, you are not easily pulled into some spaces. You are able to say, I don't think I'm ready to share that kind of part with you. Let's meet and have a conversation. I don't think I'm comfortable. And it is okay to say, no, I'm not comfortable sharing some of my images. That's just me. A lot of us are not able to just say no because we want to be liked. And we have a lot of childhood trauma, Kingsley. We have a lot of us who don't have fathers. So the aspect of being liked, but this guy who has shown interest is so innate. So a lot of us will go bend over backwards to get that acceptance and that attention. And guess what? As women, we need it. We seek it. It's what drives us. It's what, attention is everything to us as women. So know that you need that attention, but what are your limits to it? How far can you go to get it? So self-awareness is what is key when it comes to women being very careful with too much sharing, because in the tech world, you have opened that door yourself. It is very personal, but we are not aware. That's when young girls, for example, nowadays teenagers have phones and they are sharing things. As mothers, as guardians, do you check to see what they are sharing? Do you talk to them and tell them the consequences of some of the content they are sharing? And sensationalization of it's hype. We have these celebrities.
It's a vibe.
We have these celebrities that look so cool. They have nice figures and they want to show them out there. What are the consequences to our girls when it comes to GBV in the digital space? What messages are they getting? Because the ladies are thinking about here and now. They're not thinking about 2, 3, 4, 5 years to come. Yes.
Now, we've talked about the demographics. You've mentioned the youth. Do you think it is specifically inclined to the youth? And I'm talking about people who are 35 and below. Or does it cut across the board with regard to tech-led GBV?
Well, I think it cuts across the board, but it affects the ages differently.
Okay.
Because the more liberated the young people are very liberated nowadays. It's it's my space, it's my right. But as a woman, those rights affect us proportionately, depending on where we are at. During our days, we like to say, thank God we didn't have digital cameras. You know, we had some good times, but there's no record of it. It's only in your mind.
Films.
It's in your mind.
Yeah.
But the here and now of today is that there's a lot that is, even sometimes yourself, you can't imagine that there's a photo that somebody kept somewhere. When you see it, you're like, damn.
Now, sometimes I sit back and Facebook reminds me of photos that I posted.
You know,
Yeah.
and it reminds you of stuff. It doesn't matter if you deleted, you know, you tagged people, they kept those archives, they remember. So it is important for us to be very, very keen to remind ourselves as ladies. And this is why being in a space like Wise, where you're reminded of these things, you're reminded why you need to be a hard target. Even when at work, when somebody tries to tell you, dangle this and I'll give you a promotion. We show you, we give you tips on how to circumvent some of those challenges, because guess what, Kingsley? They're here with us and they're so real. So this is what it's all about.
When now let's look at the context now in the Kenyan space. We look at our culture and the norms that we mentioned, the gender dynamics in Kenya and how they are now intersecting with the digital space. We've seen so much growth of internet usage, especially in Kenya. And someone might say people in the rural areas are not aware, or they do not use, internet and tech. What's your opinion on how this technologically led GBV affects people living in the rural areas? Because I know of people who, you listen to stories, they're in the rural areas, but they're really affected. And you brought it up about how much information are you sharing out there?
Well, being in the rural space does not negate you or keep you safe from the digital threats. In fact, they are more vulnerable because they are not aware of the triple effects that, they say illiteracy is is very dangerous. So the more knowledgeable you're not, the more vulnerable you are to abuse. Okay? And gadgets look interesting. And we have a lot of, people in the rural areas who are not yet in the digital space. And if there are, they are sharing gadgets. Okay?
Yeah.
And that also moves into breach of privacy. So they don't have privacy if you're sharing.
Like one phone is being used by...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like you find it's a homestead with one phone. So the mother is using, the kids are using.
Okay.
Everyone has a pool of information there.
Yeah.
That's very dangerous because the issue of control comes in. They don't have autonomy on their privacy.
Yeah.
Okay? There's also the issue of, being... how do I put it? I like the right words. Somebody using your information without your permission. And there's nothing you can do about doxxing, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, there's nothing you can do about it. So the people in the rural areas who may not have access to this knowledge or, or the social media platforms, yes, you may think that they are safe, but lack of knowledge,
they become vulnerable.
And you see, it is easier for them to be lied to. Let me give you an example. Let's take real life examples. When somebody profiles you and knows you have a child you have a 5-year-old child who goes to school and calls you in the middle of the day and tells you your child is in hospital, you need to send money immediately. Those things. Tuma kwa hii number. And you see, that does not affect people who are in the urban areas because you see, the digital space also educates you. So it's not... A lot of it is not negative. Those of us who are in the urbanized area, you get to learn a lot. You get to know how to protect yourself against fraudsters. But people in the rural areas are not privy to that information. So you find they're easily tricked too. They're easily conned, especially using such kind of examples. They're easily, and they fall for that. And then guess what? You use your husband's phone, you send money, it was his money because you're sharing. Guess what? GBV, Gioni. It's a war. So it does affect people depending on where they are. And the more vulnerable you are, the more not knowledgeable you are about the digital space and how to protect yourself, the more vulnerable you are to GBV.
So it is more of creating awareness on how vulnerable anyone can be as long as you are connected to the internet or to a mobile device.
Yes, and it also takes intentionality to be able to grow and to harden yourself as a target. For example, banks keep on telling people, do not give away your password. In the rural areas, guess what? Password ya hiyo simu
Ni ya
kila
jamii.
mtu anajua. Kila mtu anajua. In spaces where, for example, even in the urban areas, somebody calls you and tells you your bank is doing some maintenance and they'd like you to confirm your name and your date of birth. And no, if you're not smart, you need to ask yourself, you are the bank, you have all this information in the back end, why are you asking me? So if there's a problem, I'll walk into my branch and get a clarification. A lot of us go ahead and give that information. And women are so vulnerable because they are so scared of the little money they have saved. And if there's a problem, they are thinking they're going to be frauded, so they easily give that information. We need to teach women to have something we call emotional intelligence because we thrive on emotions. Ukishtuka kidogo, and you see people who are frauding you use time and emotions.
Yeah, they bait you with emotions.
Yes, so whenever we tell our members in WISE, whenever anything is on a timeline, think twice. There's a rush. You need to send money now. You need to take a breath and just think about it. Because most of us, because we don't want to lose, we don't want to look like we didn't take caution, we fall to it.
Just to bring more context into this, I want us to look at the different forms of how, people can be victims of technologically facilitated GBV. We talked about body shaming. We talked about, cyberbullying. Probably you can shed a light on how these different forms can manifest in people's day-to-day lives.
Let me take an example of revenge porn. Things go south in relationships. Somebody wants something, you don't want to do it, and they decide, you know what, you are going to face the consequences. And they put you out there. That is one form, revenge porn. And it has happened even to very senior leaders. I don't want to mention names that have gone viral because either they took a stand on an ideology and it backfired on them. That's number one. We have non-consensual sharing of, online harassment, where you said something, people did not agree with it, and it is not in your place to even have an opinion as a woman.
You have no say.
You have no say. And it is trolled. And sometimes you find, even in online harassment, the women are quiet. So the harassment is so loud. There are no buffers. There needs to be a group, a tribe of women that is hold up. I mean, women will be called, for example, online harassment, you are too loud. You talk too much, shut up. I think everybody talks loud.
That's why
Kingsley.
we have mouths.
That's why we have mouths. When it is sexist, it turns into harassment. So we have been able to actually teach women to understand when conversations turn sexist. It's not about that I'm a woman, I'm a human being. I am, So being judged by virtue of either you say something or you have an opinion on something or you hold an ideology on something, that translates into online harassment. Then we also have doxxing, where people share your information without letting you, like where you live. We know where you live. Have you seen those things?
Kusalimiwa.
We know. By the way, Monica, we know where you cannot talk. We know where you live. That is a very, very scary statement. And women, actually, it enters into the bone. Those threats are so serious because if you've been able to notice, the conversation ends there. Actually, some people even close those accounts. So the perpetrator wins in totality without... So there's no... these different forms of tech-led GBV, they continue to thrive because the ladies take a back step. And the activists who stand out to speak about it, they are targeted, they are trolled, they are called names. And we even have channels that are specifically for, I don't want to name them, but they actually propagate tech-led GBV. and they have a following, Kingsley. The misogyny online is shocking. And this brings me to the point of femicide. The reason as a society we don't have these numbers going down is because it is so loud on the social space why women need to be silenced. And from a security point of view, from where I sit, femicide is a violent extremism of gender-based violence. It is in the same level as terrorism, as anti-money laundering, as those crimes that are called heinous.
Yes.
Because nobody deserves to die because they are a female or because they should not say. In fact, some people say women are supposed to, don't shout. You're supposed to talk in soft, I am a great champion of embracing femininity. The whole being of a woman, being soft.
Yeah.
Being soft in your approach, being nurturing, being caring. But that does not allow you to be a soft target. You have to develop skills that, assertiveness, confidence, the ability to protect yourself, that protecting yourself is so important that you don't care the shame part. You need to handle your emotional intelligence to a point that the perpetrators actually do not even, do you know why they thrive? Because nobody spotlights them.
Yeah.
Nobody spotlights them.
They speak in the shadows and
it is okay. So we need to harness women's capacity to be able to spotlight them confidently. But the question is, Kingsley, even as we talk about these forms of tech-facilitated GBV, do we have specific spaces for reporting?
Let's talk about it. The safe spaces.
Oh, my goodness.
Normally what happens is that, when such things occur, people shy away. And the first place you'll be told is, go to the police station in the gender office. Does it work?
We do appreciate that the National Police Service has actually taken a separate desk to talk about GBV issues. And I also understand a lot of officers who are in those desks have actually been trained, not all of them, but quite a percentage on how to handle GBV. Survivors, we call them survivors nowadays. But you'll find, let me give you a case in point, and this is something I've experienced by virtue of being the SG of WISE. Somebody calls and says, I have been harassed, and I went to the police station and I reported, and I found a lady there who asked me what I was doing there. And this is a lady who is supposed to feel with the other lady who has come to report. So I took it upon myself to go to this police station and ask this woman, because you're a woman in security, we call ourselves WISE. You may not be a member of WISE, but you represent that which we want to protect and to build. So I was very interested to find out, why would somebody come to report an incident to you and you take on the side of judging them other than listening to them? And this was the response, that the guys are going to think I'm siding with her because I'm a woman. And at that point, I moved on from being the SG of WISE to being a trainer, because then as an SG, I would have taken a very standpoint. And I asked her, why do you feel you need to align with the guys? The reason you're here is because you can identify with a survivor. I think these are back office conversations. Looks like you, everything that comes here. So we need now to move a step further and build their resilience when it comes to standing up for those survivors when they come. Because because the numbers are few. In an office of 10 men, maybe you're the only woman. So when the bashing starts at the back office, you are the only one. Yes, here you are blaming this woman in security for asking those questions. It's because when she goes back, she's going to be asked those questions. And she does not know how to respond. So what are we saying? We are saying the gender desks, yes, they are working, and there's training to be able to facilitate the police officers to receive the survivors with the empathy that they need to do that. But from where I sit, the environment is still masculine.
Do we have other options? Because, mostly we're looking at the mental state of these survivors or victims.
Yes.
Are there options?
We do have Policare that was established a few years ago, which is a one-stop shop for GBV survivors. where they have, a medic, they have a forensic expert, they're looking to even to have courts, so that everything is handled in the same place, so that they save the dignity of the woman. You don't have to keep on moving from the hospital to the police station because when they say you have to be tested, don't shower. So you can imagine moving from place to place to report in that state. So Policare centers have been established. Not in every police station in Kenya, because then this is a progressive endeavor. So are we doing enough? No. From where I sit, is Policare a safe space? It is an attempt. Because it is still in a police station. And a police station is a very male-dominated place, and it is a busy place. It has various crimes. It has various people coming to report. So probably you are coming to report to your GBV, your brother was in a car accident, they are there, everyone is there. So it makes you feel like, wacha tu nirudi nyumbani. So I feel we would create other safer spaces for reporting GBV cases. For example, I feel hospitals are safer. Wow. If we had a desk for GBV reporting in hospitals, then after they are able to be talked to and they are tested and a report is written and there's a counselor there who is able to do that, then now they can move to report to the police station where they have saved the woman. Yeah. The embarrassment of the entire thing, they have saved their dignity. And a hospital is such a safe space. Nobody is judging you there. Everybody there is willing to help you. Yeah. So from where I sit, safety and the mental health of a woman, when they have been, harassed, to me, that would be a safer space.
They can have a police desk or a police...
Now, that woman who's in the police station where there are so many men, she does not know how to back it up. Yeah. If there was a policewoman, that gender desk is in a hospital. Yeah. She would respond differently.
And it can cut across both for the ladies and
the guys. And it is still a safe space. So as a society in WISE, we come up with ideas that can be able to really discuss what does safety mean for a woman. And even in an online space, for example, we are very keen to also be able to talk about some of these forms of GBV in our various webinars. So you're very informed. Yeah. So I would want to encourage every woman out there, if you're not a member of WISE, I know you're going to say it's a Women in Security Association. Yeah. It's a Women in Security Association on the pretext of sharing security knowledge with every woman who is concerned about their safety and security. And we do have various membership categories, Kingsley, that help women to fit in. Yeah. We do have the professional category that accommodates professional women in security. Yeah. But we do have a membership category called affiliate. Okay. Now, this is a category where if you're a woman who is interested in your safety and security, you're not directly into security in terms of career or your training, then we have space for you to be in a space where you're informed, where you stop being a soft target and you become a hard target. You have female peers who are within your reach in terms of where do you respond, where do you go. You get a sisterhood that gives you that emotional backing, that helps you, that fixes your crown, not removes it, fixes and tells you, mama, this is what you need to do, and we are here for you. So this is what I want to tell women out there. You cannot be able to be alone when you're thrown in the spanner of the works, you go down. You need a soft landing in a community of women that can be able to help you to discuss some of these issues and to make positive change, because we are all in various spaces. So it is how your support system carries you. If everyone tells you, by the way, umeisha, by the way, you have nothing here, you better just hide, that's exactly what you're going to do. But you come in a community where people tell you, these are your resources. Yeah. This is how you get back up, So we do have a number of programs. We do have a mentorship program. And this is a program for women in security who are willing to grow professionally in terms of
career growth.
Yeah, like promotions. Sometimes kuna hii kitu lazima unini, Yeah. So we give you resources on how to
elevate yourself.
Elevate without having to do the thing. Okay. Let me use, Yeah. So we give you resources to be able to put your competency before, Like you'll get into rooms and people do not see the professional. They see the dress. They see the lipstick. They see the figure.
And somebody might ask, for WISE, how old should you be, to join?
My goodness. We don't have. I think from 18 years and above, you can be able to join as a member. If you're a student, we do have a student membership category where now we even nurture you in terms of career. Maybe if I had somebody like myself, Kingsley, to guide me when I left an entire career because I was harassed. Can you imagine? It is. Wow. I shut down. I went back to campus because you go for internship, then you go back and finish.
Yeah.
I knew when I went back to university, I don't want to be in journalism because my first experience was very negative. If I had a Monica who told me that was just one incident, we have media houses that are very professional. We have avenues that you can be able to grow your career. Nobody was able to tell me that. And we have a lot of young people who are facing this technology GBV, even in their careers as they grow, even as women, even as they become girlfriends. I was hearing whether it's something I saw on TikTok.
Yeah.
Ladies who do not want to get married.
Wow.
They do not want to get married. Why? The narrative out here is so negative. I don't want to get into that space.
Yeah.
How many of us gender champions are coming out to talk to these guys and tell them you cannot take 1, 2, 3 examples that are being spotlighted so much and judge the institution of marriage that is biblically centered to thrive a community.
Yeah.
So, Kingsley, what am I saying? I'm saying that we are calling on women to be in spaces that they can stop being soft targets. If you're a young woman who is very intentional in being the next whoever they want to become, you need to understand what does safety and security mean for you. Yeah. For example, let's take when you're going for campus. We hear people come from rural areas, what you're asking about, literacy, digital literacy, and they come to university and their culture shock is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they do not, and they're swallowed, and they think they're being done for favors. Nobody's doing, you have earned your spot there authentically. The fact that you don't have a mobile phone does not make those who have mobile phone a chance to use it to turn you into a girlfriend or whatever they need to turn you into. So we need to have these conversations. They need to plug into spaces where they stop being soft targets. So if you're a student, please join WISE. You will never be the same again. You'll be so intentional in your growth.
Yeah.
You'll be looking at the star. You know that star you've seen, you want to reach there? These other relationship, love things are just sideshows. They are not the main thing. What happens, Kingsley? We get into our spaces. You're doing a bachelor of criminology and security. No, not many of criminology, because already there your security sense is high. You're doing some program, and you get some nice guy who's showing you some cool stuff, and you forget the bachelors, and you focus on the guy. In ways to remind you, this is a sideshow. The main focus is your bachelor's. Focus, because without competency, people are going to see your skirt, people are going to see your skin, people are going to see your figure. You better have both of them. You better have both of them and fight for the competency card.
You brought in a very good point, and I want us to go back about the environment that we are brought up in. We listen to a lot of radio, we watch a lot of YouTube, you name it, on social media. And I think someone say that if you stay long enough in a barber shop, you'll get a haircut.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your take on the kind of information that we consume, in Kenya, or just generally?
Well,
could it be contributing to this?
Let me just go back to my undergraduate research. The way you're told to pick a topic?
Yeah.
I picked a topic on the effects of soap opera on young ladies. That time of Kina Kondo Shazmia, of Ruby, those ones. And I was so interested to find out, really, because it hypes the women to a level of expectation in relationships. Then reality check. Hey, I pan out
ground.
Things need different, okay? And my research concluded that the media really, really shapes ideologies. And it carries with it believability.
It's a world on its own.
And you cannot be able to... You see, in communication, we say, you share communication, but people may get... From what you wanted to say, 10 messages go out. People hear it
between the lines
in different ways.
Yeah.
But guess what? The media language, the narratives, the ideologies that come out of our listening in all the social media spaces, Kwanzia, TikTok, WhatsApp, what is shared, TV, radio, the conversation is so misogynistic. It's women are gold diggers, women are sleeping to get their positions, there is nothing positive, and the media perpetuates that conversation. And those few of us who have been able to break barriers, or maybe call it breaking the glass ceilings, we struggle with believability because already the society, then couple that with culture, because already we come from a very patriarchal society that views women as lesser beings, or women who are supposed to be provided for, women who are supposed to listen. And here you are the manager, and people do not want to win in any, by the way. You understand?
Yeah.
So the media has, for the longest time, and if you asked me, perpetuated the ideologies that really put women down, and even perpetuate this digital GBV. They sensationalize celebrity nudity as a good thing. All media, Kingsley. And despite that you have been raised in a family that is Christian-based, you have values you've grown up with. Guess what? Peer pressure ni kitu mbaya sana. It doesn't matter. You normalize. It becomes a thing. And this has caused our young people to normalize bad behavior. To normalize harassing ladies, to normalize treating women like they are not human beings.
Yeah.
And it is so bad that some people actually get to a point of hate that they actually end up killing you. Like you don't have a right to have a different opinion. Like Kingsley, if I don't love you, I'm supposed to love you because you love me, and this is how things should be. I don't have a right to say, I know you love me, you've given me a lot of attention, but our interest over time, I've taken a different direction and I have to leave. You feel like I've given you so much, I need to end your life. That needs to stop. It's not right.
Yeah.
You do not love somebody and give them stuff and you think that they owe you. When you love somebody, you love them. When you love somebody, you give them. And true love doesn't hold. If somebody tells you, you know what, this is not working, let them go. And this is what we need to tell our both male and female.
Yeah.
It's not that serious, by the way. The world is so full of good women and good men. Hata huyo akikuacha, kuna wengine wazuri wenye hata wanakungoja. Sometimes God shuts a door because there's a better one coming. So even the guys who are left and they have invested a lot, imagine God will give you more to invest a lot.
Well, men will say that, nili invest.
But you see, you invest in alcohol. You invest in things that you get into bad deals, Kingsley. Do you kill your partner?
No, you don't.
You don't. Why is it that the woman is an easy thing to finish? We get into a lot of bad deals. Yeah? We eat badly and we get fat. Do you kill yourself? You go to the gym and work out. It's the same thing. Yeah. But somehow when it comes to the women, people don't think like that. How do I put it? We need to stop sensationalizing. And what annoys me most is when a woman dies out of GBV, it's just another story in the media. I think the media needs to... the way they sensationalize politics?
Yeah.
The way the country stop, this is happening?
Yeah.
That needs to be what is happening in the mainstream media. Forget about the TikToks and, the TikToks and the WhatsApp, they follow what the mainstream media is actually just giving as an agenda setting, so to speak. So I think when one woman dies out of GBV, or there's a GBV case, there needs to be this is a woman's month, for crying out loud. I expect that this month, people are going to see why we need to end GBV from 1st of March
to the end
paka ikiendelea the rest of the year. Why?
Yeah.
So that it can sink in.
Yeah.
Kingsley.
Yeah.
It really boils my skin when women look like they are not part of the society. We are 50%. And when you look at politics, numbers talk. Sindio?
Yeah.
Hata saizi hii gava broad-based is because of what? Numbers. We are at a 50% mark as women. Why are we not talking? Why don't we have a strong sisterhood? Why are we not each other's backups? Because guess what? The guys are each other's backups.
Yep.
And this is what we are very keen to just highlight there is nothing wrong with you having the capacity to share what you're going through with a fellow sister and get tools to be sustainable in your personal relationship, in your authentic relationships, in your career. And as I'm talking about a woman's security, let me just talk about 4 components very quickly of a woman's security as we talk about why tech GBV is perpetuated. A woman's security is into 4 parts. And this is free nuggets.
Yeah.
If you're in WISE, you already know this. And this is what is attacked. These 4 parts. The physical part of a woman. How a woman looks, how she feels about her looks, how she dresses, how the society accepts her dressing, gives her a sense of security. That is what gives her confidence to even walk in a room and address people. If society tries to put that some form of dressing is okay, the girls will not, as long as they're not threatened, it's going to be okay.
Okay.
The hospitality industry, for example, you realize in a lot of bars, a lot of ladies want to short.
Yeah.
Did you know this is propagated to please the other gender? It's never about their safety. And this is something no one is talking about. It has happened. No one has ever raised. Why are these ladies in a very compromising environment wearing short dresses? They are touched. Who talks about their safety in those areas? They need the money, so they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But you see, as a community, we have a chance to be able to address the physical aspect of a woman. What is okay? When a woman decides that she wants to, I don't want to quote some ladies, but we are only young for too long.
Yeah.
Then age sets in, all right? Our legs are beautiful, our skin is beautiful. Being authentically woman is being allowed to be in your physical element without being judged. So if women thrive in a community where their physical aspect is enjoyed, is celebrated. And I see in most Western countries, this is really embraced. There's no challenge about, when we tell our women, in a way that, if you talk about soft and being hard target, if you're a hard target, you will know where to dress where. It's just a matter of you identifying which dressing is appropriate for which setting, okay? So the physical aspect of a woman is everything to her, how she looks. And guess what? That is attacked a lot on the digital space. And sometimes you dress appropriately, somebody takes it out of context, puts it in a different way, and you start getting online harassment. Yet, the setting with which you are in was appropriate.
It allowed for that.
It allowed for that kind of dressing. That's the first dimension. The second dimension is the emotional dimension. All right? And this is, before I go to the emotional dimension, the physical dimension, we tell even our members, please embrace how you dress. How you dress communicates who you are, communicates your value, communicates the respect you exude. So in the rooms you walk in, how you dress is very important.
Yeah.
So the second dimension is the emotional dimension. Women are emotional in nature. That's why they laugh, they cry, they express themselves depending on their personality. If a woman has an emotional space that is safe, she's easily able to express herself. She is able to laugh loudly. She is able to give ideas because her emotional space is okay. If a woman is trolled online, her emotional space is attacked. She's feeling shame. Yeah. She's feeling judged. She's feeling I am not accepted. Yeah. So we tell women, because you are a social being, make sure you are in a setup that builds your emotional backing. And that's why I always tell people, if at home things are not working, utter the men. And we always talk about women. I like talking about human beings because we all have the same capacity to feel. Yeah. And we are all emotional beings. Only sometimes for the women, it's a little elevated. But when the emotional part is not working, even for the men, they can't function. Kama nyumbani ifanyi kazi. That's why you'll find a lot of them are in alcohol and drugs. They self-destruct because the emotional part is not working. Bibi amekuacha, the kids are not with you. For the man. For the woman, it's really inward. How does she feel about her feelings? She's inadequate. That's why we have a lot of suicide cases, mental health issues, because women, they are very much ni ndani yake. Utamwambia nyamaza, but she's screaming inside, like she's throwing tantrums in her whole being because she doesn't have space to do what? To express herself. That is another element that is attacked online. You're attacked and it gets into your emotions and it eats your person. And if you are professional, you even stop, you change careers, like Monica did that at some point. Then we have the professional dimension. And this is another that is attacked severely. Yes. We have very senior, I don't want to name names, but we have senior women, and you know who they are, who right now are on the spotlight for doing a good job. The guys who have been there doing, nobody bashes them like that. So why is it easy to take a stone and throw at a woman? So we say professionalism is very important. And we tell the ladies, please back it up with papers. Enda ufanye nini? Enda usome.
Soma.
Get into webinars, be updated on information. WISE holds monthly webinars. We do have 2 programs that we run in WISE. We have the mentorship program that has all mentees who graduate from the mentorship program run webinars because they're experts in their particular fields. Please plug in every month and learn something about security and how you can be able to live well as a woman. We do have the safety and security awareness program that just elevates your senses to you never being a soft target ever again. Now, these are programs that WISE is able to put at the disposal of all its members. So I'm telling you, if you're out there, plug in a space where safety and security is first and foremost very critical. I look forward to a time, Kingsley, when security will be trained in schools.
As a subject, right?
As a subject, you know, so that people are very aware that this is what is healthy, this is what is unhealthy. A lot of women do not even know when they're being gaslit. Ata ajui gaslighting in a car aji. By the time you realize you have really, really been abused emotionally, you don't even know how to come back to yourself.
True.
So when the professional aspect is attacked for a woman, her security is taken away. The 4th aspect is the person. You know, we do have the physical, how you're seen, the emotional, how you feel, the professional, the financial aspect of now what makes you, the compensation you get from your competencies. And then finally is the self. And this is where a lot of us, even those senior women in high positions, do not even understand the person. Do you know as a woman who you are and what you stand for? What are your values? You know, for example, if you're in a group of girlfriends who are going to drink until morning and you don't subscribe to that, are you able to say, you guys said I need to go? You guys go and have your thing. I gotta go home. Who are you as a person? What values do you stand for? What do you like? What don't you like? What are your boundaries? Where is it that at this point it's not going to work for me and it is okay for you to communicate that boundary? A lot of women, even in very senior positions, do not know their person. You go with the wind. This is what the guys are saying.
With the flow.
So we go this way. I'm being bashed online. Let me take a step for a year. You cannot put your life on plug because of other people. You need to find who you are. And this is what in WISE we're able to develop in a lot of ladies, that they are authentically themselves. That way, whether it's online or in a physical space, you walk with confidence. Your brand is intentional in how you build it. What you say, how you say it, how you project yourself really speaks to your whole person in terms of safety and security. And guess what? Perpetrators know soft targets. They will not go to a woman who is a hard target, you know. And I don't know how they do it. They're able to throw mahindi kidogo, you know?
Bait.
Yeah, they throw bait. And you see, if you pick on it, they're like, this one I can move with. And I tell ladies, do not be deceived. Beauty is an asset, but it is also a flaw. It is how you use it. You can use it on the flow side, na ikuharibikie. You can use it as an asset, and you get ahead. Yes. It is how do you tilt the narrative from you being a victim for you and you being a victor. Because I think women have, Kingsley, and I'm going to repeat myself, they have the tools. They have, si ndasema nini? Unaona hii soft skin? Unaona hii sauti nyororo Mungu alitupatia? Hii nywele smart na how we look. There is no office you can walk and not sell an idea and people hear you beyond your skirt. You know? But when you don't think you are all that, then you go for the skirt. Because it's the low-hanging fruit. That is the conversion we need to change. All fathers who are out there, all husbands, can you stop calling your wives prostitutes? Amefanya kitu kidogo, sio amechelewa, you throw the worst name at her face. Do not do that. I believe from where I sit, when you call your woman a prostitute, then you're a very poor judge of character because you picked her. She did not pick herself. So it backfires back on you as a man, yes? You need to be this man who stands there and says, no, this is my wife. Stand up for her. Even your sisters, your moms, your colleagues, stand up for them. Do not join the conversation. Do you know, in fact, I was reading a story the other day where a woman has been trolled online by somebody who keeps on body shaming her. She has a lot of, she enjoys her food. And, you can be allowed to enjoy your food. As long as you're okay with yourself, it is okay. But this person is just constantly calling her names online on the social media. And she goes home and tells her spouse, by the way, kuna mse tu, manze, I think aoni mademu, nini tu anaona. So he would just brush it off, evil. And it goes on for like 2 years. She blocks, they open a different account and continue trolling her. So one day, Kingsley, a dude leaves her phone and then she sees an account that has been trolling her on her husband's phone.
My goodness.
Tell me, if you're that chick, utafanya nini? But these things are happening right in our homes. We need to reach a level as guys. If you don't like something, talk about it. Online harassment is something that gets in the bones of women. It is something that affects their mental health badly. They may not be able to. Sometimes ukienda kureport saa zingine, it looks kitu ya huko.
Yeah.
It looks like so, just close there. It doesn't. We do have laws in place for that. We have a cyber, it's called what? I forget the name. What is it called? There's a law that has been, it was there in 2018. Cyber something.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, there's a law that is there. But guess what? Implementation. Equal to, and as Kenyans, we have a lot of laws that are good, but implementation is yes. And we do have 2 other laws: protection against GBV law, but it focuses on the survivors. There is no law on the perpetrators. And my call tonight, Kingsley, is that it's about time we had a femicide law that focuses, femicide legislation that focuses on perpetrators. This is what you will face if you harass a woman, whether in the digital space, in black and white, because it is not there. And the fact that it is not there, gives an enabling environment for perpetrators to thrive. And sometimes it happens with family members, with your friends, with strangers. This needs to stop. And from where we sit as WISE, we are calling on corporate. We have a lot of corporate members, and we celebrate Crimeshield for being a corporate member of WISE and believing in women and believing that they have something to offer this community and that their safety and security matters. We call on corporate organizations because this narrative cannot be done by WISE alone. We need concerted effort to be able to talk about how do we move women from being soft targets to being hard targets. Yes. Do we have organizations that are very intentional with that? Yes. Are they in their majority? No. So we are calling on all stakeholders, yes? If you're in the security space, if you're not in the security space, as long as you believe that half of your workforce deserves to be given opportunities to thrive in a safe and secure environment, then you cannot stop yourself from joining as a corporate member of the Association of Women in Safety Excellence.
Wow. I'm telling you, this topic can go over and over. We have a culture.
Yes.
In the Crimeshield podcast. And we'll have a second session. This culture is whereby our previous guests come and draft questions. And then now these questions I pose to you as we conclude. But we'll need to have a second chance to have this conversation because we have really focused on how, people can become soft targets, but we haven't really reinforced on how they can become hard targets. Yes. And that is a topic that I think we will need, a panel. I
think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll need a panel for that. Let me go direct to the question. Our guest from the previous episode is Mr. Chris Otieno. He was here, a very good friend of mine, and yours as well. And we were talking about healthcare security. This is the question that he had. Okay. Healthcare security, what would make you appreciate it? when many incidents in our country and the world as a whole, what will make you appreciate the security in the many incidences that you're seeing? Like, what exactly can make you appreciate security?
I'm a security expert. And security, from where I sit, is integral in everything. It is, the way communication is a core subject in universities and universities, security is a core. Forget about in the health sector, in every sector. Because people thrive when their emotions are settled. If you are feeling unsafe, whether in a health center institution or a banking hall, or you cannot function. So for us to be whole beings, Kingsley, security must be at the center of who we are. And health systems are very, very close to security because they are vulnerable spaces. People go there when they are sick. They don't think about their security at that time. Mwili yako yote, your whole body is in pain. You are not even sure that you're going to come out there alive or dead, They are special spaces. So why is it so important that in a healthcare facility is important is because the people in there are not looking at security. They are looking at their person, how they are feeling. So things of the general security is not a priority of the patients or the doctors. Their focus is on the body of the person. So why is it important? Every health facility needs to have security. Because let me call them the third eye of everybody in the facility, the third eye. You are the one who's going to see that a woman is having a child choking and her handbag is left on she's not remembering her handbag because her child is choking. There's certain things you do not remember and you need that third eye. So you cannot be in a healthcare facility that does not have security. They become the third eye.
Okay. We also have another question from our previous guest, and this is a writer. This question is just a straight answer, Why do we believe that everyone coming from outside Kenya comes to help Kenya? Food for thought.
I think if I were to answer that question, it comes down to our backgrounds. You see, when you're growing up, mgeni akikuja, that's when you eat good food. That's when auntie has come with some goodies. We always have this thing that when someone new has come, that day your mom will not shout at you because now she's guarded that the environment has somebody new. And I think because of that kind of upbringing, and we're African, we've come from, it's like when you would see vehicles in our villages and all of us would wave. You don't even know who's in that vehicle, but you're so excited to see a vehicle. I think it's that background that has really caused us to think that everyone who comes with something good. But I'll go back to my conversation with you that we need to stop being soft targets. Then you will not think like that.
Yeah.
You only think like that when you're a soft target. When you're a hard target, you ask yourself, what is in it for them? Why should anyone help me? What is in it for them? And there's always something in it for them. And as my parting shot, because I know we are coming to the end of the session, I want to tell all the ladies, there's nothing like a free lunch.
Yeah.
Take that to the bank today.
There's no free lunch.
There is no free lunch. I don't care how it's coated. I don't care how it looks. There's nothing like a free lunch. So you go to that lunch knowing that it's not free. If you choose to go for it, just go knowing it is not free. My mother used to tell me back in the day, and she still does it today. Maybe she'll watch this podcast. And
she has to.
She used to tell me, never eat anything you can't pay for. So always have enough money in your bag and that you can pay for what you've eaten. And I was in a family event with my daughter, and she had a handbag. Nowadays girls want to be like their mom, so she had a small handbag. So she's like, "Mommy, hold this for me. I'm coming." Yeah. So I got curious and I checked inside and I saw money, a lot of money. She had a whole 1,000 shillings that I hadn't given to her. So you can imagine, my blood inside was just waiting for me to ask, where did you get this money from? So I waited until I didn't want to ruin her day. We went home and I asked her, "Oh, Mommy, I noticed you had carried some money." And he said, "Yeah, Shosho gave it to me. She told me girls don't walk without money." So my mom continues, even in the third generation, to always remind the girls in my family, you need to have something in your pocket to get you home or to pay for your meal. But I don't know who is not telling our girls that nowadays. People are leaving their phones. People are paying for it in different ways. That needs to stop. There's nothing like a free lunch.
You have it, guys. There's nothing like a free lunch. You can now write, as I conclude the show, you can draft your question to the next guest.
Oh, so I don't say it. I draft it. So
You just draft it. Yeah. You have a whole page.
Okay, I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There you have it, guys. At the Crimeshield podcast, we unearth everything safety and security. And this is just but the beginning of this conversation. And we can't exhaust this conversation. It's something that has to be done day in, day out. Let's stop tech-led GBV. Let's stop femicide. And be your brother's keeper. Be your sister's keeper. Make sure that you're able to tell these signs, and we'll talk about it at a later stage. We are proposing to have a panel discussion on this. Put down the comment section on how you feel, the challenges of technologically led GBV. Tell us your thoughts on this conversation. And as always, guys, keep it Crimeshield and see you next time.